This question came up for me recently. Is keeping a promise a moral issue? A moral issue? And of course the answer is yes. Yeah, it is. If we make promises, keeping those promises has to do with basic honesty. Just being honest. We said we would do something. The honest thing, the morally right thing is to do it, to keep the promise. Jesus said one time, he said, let your yes be yes and your no be no. That's in Matthew chapter 5, verse 37. One way, not the only way, but one way of applying that truth to our lives would be to do what we promised we would do. Now, a person might respond and say, okay, that makes sense. I get it. But what if I'm in a position now where I'm not able to do what I promised I would do? In other words, perhaps when you promised to do something, you believed you'd be able to fulfill the promise. However, now it turns out you're unable to fulfill the promise. Answer, in that case, the morally proper thing to do is this. Go to the person. You go directly to that person to whom you made the promise and admit to the person that you're unable to keep the promise after all. When you made the promise, you thought you could keep it. You meant to keep it when you made it. That was your intention. But now it turns out, whatever the factors are, you're unable to do so. Admit that. Don't ditch the person. Don't avoid the person. Go and admit that to the person. Apologize. In other words, tell the person, I was wrong. I'm so sorry. Don't blame other things or other people or talk about I was wrong. I'm sorry. And then ask for forgiveness. Would you please, I was wrong. Would you please forgive me? If it's the kind of situation, now this won't always be the case. But if it's the kind of situation in which it would be possible to pay a form of restitution because of your failure to keep your promise, do that. I know somebody might say, why would I do all of this? This would not be easy at all. It would be incredibly uncomfortable. This would be embarrassing to do this. Well, why go to all this trouble? Well, the answer goes back to the issue that was raised at the very beginning of this little video. Why would you do this if you fail to keep a promise? Answer, because it's the morally right, not the easy. I wasn't asked what's the easy way. It's the morally right thing to do.